A legacy of bravery isn't defined by how long you live, but by how you live. This is a story of a young man who, despite facing the ultimate danger, found a way to bring comfort and morale to his fellow soldiers.
Young hands on the pipes.
James Cleland Richardson was born in Belshire, Scotland on the 25th of November 1895. His birth record shows he was born in the police station in Belshire. This is a testament to his father, David Richardson. David, who was born in Peeblesshire on February 23, 1867, and raised in Mailingsland. He apprenticed as a hardware clerk before joining the Lancashire Police Department in 1886. His service with the Lancashire Police Force culminated in his appointment as police inspector and fire chief for Rutherglen District. This upbringing, rooted in a family dedicated to public service in Scotland, forged a strong sense of duty. For genealogists, tracing someone's roots adds immense depth to their story. James' family, for instance, shows deep Scottish origins. His father, David Richardson, was born in Peeblesshire, Scotland, as was his mother, Mary Prosser, who was born on January 2, 1866. Together, David and Mary had 8 children: James Cleland, Alice, David, Mary, Isabel, Janet, Robert, and Alexa. Their ancestry reaches back through generations in Scotland, including names like James Prosser and Alison Preston from Peeblesshire, and further back to Charles Richardson Midlothian. This strong connection to the Scottish soil stretching back centuries is a vital part of understanding who James was. The family's strong Presbyterian faith, evidenced by their membership in Cook's Presbyterian Church in Chilliwack, would have influenced their values and the way they lived their lives. In May of 1913, David and 4 of his children, James, Alice, David Jr., and Mary, embarked on a new life, sailing from Glasgow, Scotland to Canada, arriving first in Halifax, Nova Scotia aboard the SS Parisian. They journeyed across Canada by train to Vancouver, BC. By August 1913, David had secured the Chilliwack Chief of Police position and relocated his family to this growing community. A month later, in October of 1913, Mary, James's mother, arrived in Quebec on the SS Praetorian with her daughters Mary, who was age 20, Isabel, 8, Janet, 3, and son Robert, who was age 6. Only one child, Alexa, who was now 10 in 1913, remained in Scotland. She remained there for several years, eventually joining them in 1949. James Cleland, the eldest son, was an active Boy Scout. In his early life in Canada saw him working at a factory in the Falls Creek area of Vancouver, where in 1914 he distinguished himself by attempting to save the life of a boy who had fallen and drowned in the creek. This act of selfless courage predates his military service. Beyond his inherent bravery, James was an excellent piper. On July 1, 1914, he won 3 first-place prizes in the bagpipe competition at the Scottish Sports Day event held in Victoria, British Columbia. This deep connection to his Scottish heritage through music would soon take on a profound new meaning. With the outbreak of war, James joined the Sea Force as part of that unit's first detachment, leaving for Valcartier, Quebec, and it was absorbed by the 16th Battalion of the Canadian Expeditionary Force. James became one of the 110 originals of the newly formed 16th Battalion. Was it this powerful beginning and deep Scottish heritage carried across from the ocean that forged his unwavering commitment to serve and ultimately led to his incredible bravery? That is the central question this video hopes to explore. As I was researching James's story, a young man who had brought music to the battlefield, I felt compelled to express his bravery in a more personal way, which led me to write the song playing in the background of this video. With the help of AI to enhance my voice and banjo playing and add some extra instruments, I hope you are enjoying it. And if you've made it this far in the video and you want to see more stories of individuals and how their ancestry influenced their lives, remember to like the video and subscribe to help send YouTube the signal that these types of stories need to be heard. The year was 1916, specifically the 8th of October 1916. the muddy torn-up fields of France, during the latter stages of the Battle of the Somme, known as the Battle of Anchor Heights. This was a particularly brutal phase characterized by Canadians facing incredibly strong German positions with heavy casualties on both sides. James' 16th Battalion was ordered to attack a heavily fortified German position known as the Regina Trench. The reality of the trench was grim. Mud, chaos, and the relentless German defenses stretched before them. The moment of decision arrived. As the Canadian troops prepared for a desperate charge, James turned to his commanding officer. Though only 20 years old at the time, James pleaded so earnestly to be allowed to go into action that Colonel Leckie finally granted him his wish. James, having obtained this permission from his commanding officer to play his bagpipes to inspire the advancing troops and play his company over the top, headed out of his trench with a determined spirit. Despite the immediate and terrifying danger of becoming a lone target, James picked up his pipes, ready to play his part. Imagine the immense fear, the sheer psychological toll of being in that trench, knowing what lay ahead. Why would a young man, in the face of such overwhelming terror, choose to do something so incredibly brave? What internal conflict must he have faced staring down such impossible odds? It's easy to forget the power of music and art in times of conflict. For centuries, military pipers had marched in the battle, their stirring melodies a traditional call to arms, leading charges boosting morale, a symbol of defiance against the roar of cannons. This reminds us that even in the darkest moments, humanity and morale can find a way to prevail. As the company approached the objective, they were held up by concentrations of barbed wire and subjected to intense enemy fire, which caused heavy casualties and demoralized the formation for the moment. Realizing the situation, Piper Richardson strode up and down outside the wire, playing his pipes with the greatest coolness. The effect was instantaneous. Inspired by his splendid example, his company successfully rushed the barbed wire, made their way through it, and captured the German position. The tune he played, the March of the Cameraman, cut through the battlefield din. His music, a beacon of defiant hope, inspired the Canadian troops, successfully capturing their objective. The immediate objective was achieved, a small victory in a vast, brutal war. Richardson survived the attack and was later detailed to escort a wounded comrade and some prisoners of war to the rear. The triumph of the moment was real, but it was tinged with the constant lingering peril of the battlefield. Later that same day, along the way back, about 200 yards from the captured position, Piper Richardson remembered that he had left his pipes behind. Although strongly urged not to do so, he insisted on returning to recover his pipes. This single act of going back, his dedication, put him in mortal danger. As he returned, the German counterattack began. The situation rapidly became increasingly dire and chaotic. He was never seen alive again. Death was presumed accordingly, owing to the lapse of time. He was later buried at Adnac Military Cemetery in France. James was 20 years old. His pipes were found and returned to Canada 90 years later. A silent testament to his final moments, but the young man who played them was gone. We're left to reflect on the immense sacrifice and the enduring mystery of his final moments. The injustice of a young life barely begun, cut so tragically short. The question hangs in the air. Why did he go back? Was it purely devotion to his instrument, or did his deep-seated faith, his belief in divine providence, perhaps give him the extraordinary peace and courage, believing himself as safe in battle as in bed? It's a somber reflection on the true cost of war and the incredible, often unseen courage of those who fight. James Cleland Richardson's story is a testament to the influence of heritage, upbringing, and faith on one's path. We've explored how his Scottish roots, his father's dedication to service, and his Presbyterian beliefs might have shaped his extraordinary bravery. What do you think fueled James' unwavering courage at the Regina Trench? His Scottish heritage, his Presbyterian faith, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts and any family stories of duty and bravery in the comments below. But the story of James Cleland Richardson doesn't end with his disappearance. It continues with the recognition of his immense heroism. For his exemplary courage under fire in this action, Piper Richardson was posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest and most prestigious award for military valor in the Commonwealth. The official citation published in the London Gazette, number 30967, states, "For most conspicuous bravery and devotion to duty, when prior to attack he obtained permission from his commanding officer to play his company over the top. As the company approached the objective, it was held up by very strong wire and came under immense fire, which caused heavy casualties and demoralized the formation for the moment. Realizing the situation, Piper Richardson strode up and down outside the wire, playing his pipes with the greatest coolness. The effect was instantaneous. Inspired by his splendid example, the company rushed the wire with such fury and determination that the obstacle was overcome and the position captured. Later, after participating in bombing operations, he was detailed to take back a wounded comrade and prisoners. After proceeding about 200 yards, Piper Richardson remembered that he had left his pipes behind. Although strongly urged not to do so, he insisted on returning to recover his pipes. He has never been seen since, and death has been presumed accordingly owing to the lapse of time." His actions on that day were not just brave, they were a lifeline for his comrades, a moment of defiant beauty in the face of despair. Today, his name lives on in memorials and in the hearts of those who remember his sacrifice. In April of 1919, David and Mary Richardson received their son's posthumous Victoria Cross from Lieutenant Governor Barnard in Victoria, British Columbia. James's parents continued to honor his memory, participating in two memorable events: the 1936 Vimy pilgrimage, where both David and Mary attended the unveiling of the Vimy War Memorial, and in 1939 during the royal visit when they were presented to King George VI and Queen Elizabeth in Chilliwack. After decades, James' beloved pipes were located and in 2006 finally repatriated to Canada, a powerful symbol of his return, if only through his cherished instrument. After leaving the police force in 1920, David Richardson became the janitor at Chilliwack High School, where he was affectionately known as Chief. He remained a prominent citizen of Chilliwack, a supporter of St. Andrew's and Caledonia Society, a member of Cook's Presbyterian Church, and a founding member of the Chilliwack Lawn Bowling Club, until his death in February 1955. Mary, who was active in the Women's Missionary Society of Cook's Presbyterian Church, passed away a little over a year later in June 1956. His legacy is further cemented by memorials like the statue erected in Chilliwack, British Columbia, ensuring future generations remember his extraordinary courage. The impact of Piper Richardson's story continues to resonate, inspiring new generations. If you're looking for another way to connect with this powerful history, you might be interested in a recent short film, The Sound of Somme, which captures the essence of these brave pipers and their sacrifices. You can learn more about it in the links I've included in the description below. His story reminds us that some legacies aren't just found in records, but in the echoes of a song. And in trying to honor his sacrifice, I found a small piece of his story in my own music. But in World War I, bravery wasn't just confined to the trenches. There are other stories of Canadian Scots showing incredible courage in the Great War. For example, Beatrice MacDonald, a nurse from just down the road where I live in Prince Edward Island. She became the first woman to receive the Purple Heart for service and bravery. Be sure to check out the video appearing here where I dive into her inspiring story. And remember, every family has a story, and every story is worth telling. So until next time, keep searching for your ancestors.